PS360, back for more of Turok 2 in Sector 2 of the Primogen's lightship. With some fairly ominous sounding music. But then again, the sound design in this game is just top notch. Like, we can hear that guy. And we can see that. What is that? Let's take out this guy first. Yeah. No, I gotta... I think that's a new weapon. Really? Dick move, game. Yeah, let's go get our new weapon. No!
7 lives remaining.
Dick move, game. Well, I guess we're gonna have to find an alternate way to get over to that weapon. At least I think it's a weapon. It's definitely not an ion capacitor. And those switches just make that platform raise and fall. This is a little... yeah, it's too high for us to jump up to. So it looks like we're gonna have to crawl through the vents. This is as close to a sewer level as Turok 2 gets. It's not too bad, and it's not a particularly long section. You do want to make sure to turn around when you fall down that fan that's turned off, so you can grab this ion capacitor that you most likely would have seen when you hit that first button. You also want to make sure that you start backing up from the edge, otherwise these fans that are blowing us around in here will have absolutely no issue with just blowing you out the side of the vent and into a bottomless pit. I'm not 100% certain if you die if you get sucked into one of the fans. I wasn't really willing to test it out. I mean, there's enough issues with these ventilation systems as it is.
Shredder.
And I wanted that ammo, but we still get blown around by the vents over here, so jumping off of that middle walkway is very risky. Mostly because jumping back onto that walkway is very risky. And of course we have auto turrets in here too.
Cerebral bore.
Ooh, do I need PFMs too? Can I get... no, okay. Don't need PFMs. Oh, well, it looks like it doesn't kill us. We just got sucked into that one that was above our head, and promptly stuck on the wall. There we go.
Flamethrower.
It sounds like one of the bigger guys. Must be behind a locked door. Well, can extend that bridge just in case we fall again.
Razor wind.
And we can pick up the last part of our Xena cosplay. Let's test it out, shall we? You'll notice we don't have a crosshair to aim anymore. We can throw it out, and it comes back to us bloodied if it hits something. But you'll also notice it comes back to us. You'll also notice the foreshadowing on Turok's hand when you throw it. Kind of makes him have this, I don't know, this weird looking deformity. And this thing does a huge amount of damage to whatever it hits. So, to explain it a little bit, we have what amounts to a... Guess we can't go this way yet. This is the only talisman we haven't gotten yet, so we should be picking it up somewhere on this level. We'll have to come back here. Anyhow, we have what amounts to a mechanically operated circular saw chakram. We don't have the aiming help that we do with guns. However, we also don't have an ammo counter like we do with guns. We throw this, and once it comes back into our hands, we could just throw it again. No ammo needed. Does a massive amount of damage. If our aim is not so good, we can use the map to help us aim it a little bit. As we can aim for just above where our crosshairs are at, or where the triangle for us on the map is at. I'm gonna need a key for that door, or a switch rather. Let's see if we can sneak up on this guy that's walking around and demo the Razor Wind again. I don't know why, but him walking there makes me think of Bugs Bunny. There you'll see part of the problem with the Razor Wind, as I get blasted by an auto turret. The Razor Wind, when it's coming back to you, can get hung up on some of the level geometry. And until it gets back to you, you can't really do anything about throwing it again. You can switch to another weapon. But you won't really be able to do anything about it otherwise. Now we do need to haul it for that door, as that door closing there wasn't because we walked through it. That door's on a timer. And if we don't make it through it in time, we just have to go back and hit the switch again. Which is probably why there's so many auto turrets in that hallway. For what it's worth, the Razor Wind is probably my favorite weapon in the game, because I am a massive hoarder of various items in games. Potions and elixirs and the like in some of the Final Fantasies. I don't like to use too many of my resources until I absolutely desperately need to. So the Razor Wind is perfect for me, as it does not have any ammo. Now it does look like these hallways are symmetrical, but let's double check. Make note of that ion crystal that's in the background. We do have 2 of them leading through those doors overlooking the laser grid on the floor. Yeah, aside from that extra turret, these hallways are pretty much identical. So let's go get some of these ion crystals. Because we haven't picked up 4 of them yet, and we're going to need 4 for the next purification chamber? Pollution chamber? Whatever you want to call it. Now these doors, like that other one, are also on a timer.
Ion capacitor found.
And you have no time to screw around with these ones. We got one of the ion capacitors. There should be a switch to open the doors back up from this side, somewhere around here. Like here. Yeah, that was it. And that way we can get the second ion capacitor.
Ion capacitor found.
And then just jump back through and continue on our merry... No!
6 lives remaining.
This is the dickish area of the ship. Let's try this again. What the game is showing you before we got on that elevator is that some of the doors will require a switch to open that won't keep them open. If you're not going fast enough, that first one, I guess we don't need this full health anymore, that first one at the base of the elevator is just going to close on you. And if you're not going as fast as you can, these couple of doors are going to close on you too. So it's kind of a nice way to introduce you to the possibility that first, some of the doors will close on you, and the timers on these doors leading into here are just long enough so that if you're not going as fast as you can by walking forward and strafing at the same time, cutting the corners as tight as you can, that door's going to start closing on you as you approach it down the lengthy hallway. So it's not likely that it's going to close on your face, but at this point in the game, if it does, I mean, the game's not really shy about taking lives from you. Not in the last level, at least. See if we can take his legs out from under him. There we are. He still tries to crawl away for help. This game has some of the best animations. Well, something that I didn't point out that happened earlier. While, yes, the Razor Wind can get stuck on geometry, you can still try to keep the enemy that that you were trying to shoot at in between you and the returning Razor Wind. It can still hit them on the way back, and if it does, it will damage them. In some cases, it'll kill them. Where did my arrows go? Huh. Well, that's fine, I guess. It's not like I'm hurting for ammo. Well, with that at least we've got 2 of the 4 generators that we need. And we've got some of the life force tokens down here, some of the bigger ones rather, to help replenish the lives that the game has so generously decided to liberate from us in this area.
Flamethrower.
Coming back to where this full health is at least we can pick it up now. Hitting the other switch and going the opposite door will let us get out of this sector. And back to the main area of the ship. No turret there? No? I guess not. Okay. Well, I'm not going to complain. Thank you, Primogen, for being so good at what you do. And designing an amazing security system on this ship. One thing to note is if the Razor Wind does get stuck on geometry and is kind of taking its sweet time coming back to you, there is a point where it just basically decides enough is enough and it'll just warp back into your hand through whatever geometry that it happens to be near, or that it happens to be stuck on, rather. And this area of the ship looks quite a bit different from the other ones. A lot more computerized. We've got these glass structures. Look kind of like display cases. Sometimes they'll have a turret inside of them. Not that we can do anything about that. And not that the turret can do anything about that either, for that matter. So if a turret does spawn inside of them, it can't shoot us. I was just going to say something about I don't know why the Primogen would cause turrets to spawn behind the glass like that. Maybe he's not that great at designing security systems as I've been giving him credit for, but then stuff like that happens. I do have to hand it to him. I mean, I know he's the enemy and all, trying to bring down the Lost World, or the Lost Land, and pretty much everything in this dimension, and blow everything up, whatever. He definitely creates a hostile environment. I thought I heard another turret spawning as that one blew up.
Mag 60.
I guess not. There it is. Another handy way to deal with them, especially in this area of the ship, is just putting some geometry in between you and the auto turret. And some of that geometry can include the pedestal that they're coming down the ceiling from. Like, if we just run up next to this pedestal, it can't hit us.
I am Turok.
If we really feel like jumping up and slashing at it, we can take it out with the Warblade. We're still going to take damage in those instances, just because we're going to be jumping up into its line of fire, and the lip of that pedestal isn't going to be blocking its shots anymore because it's not going to exist once we're high enough in the air. Well, I mean, it'll exist, but it's not going to be in the path of the bullets. But you can take them out with melee if you'd like. I guess through this door is just out of this one's range. Biobot? Where you at? Are you behind me? And this level loves to just toss stuff coming at you from all directions. You gotta keep on your toes at this point. But they have given you the arsenal to be able to deal with it. And just in case you run out of ammo completely and exhaust your ammo supply, or rather ammo resupply from Adon at the save points, you do have a ranged weapon that doesn't take ammo now. And it does enough damage that you can very easily use it in place of most of the other weapons. You just gotta get good with it. Sometimes you just need homing, though. And explosions, because, I mean, why not? We need to get up to that center platform. Oh, seems like a perfectly fine way to do it. And hitting this switch is going to activate this other platform going side to side, which we both need to get this ion capacitor
found.
And then we're going to need it again to get to the other side of this room. Since, you know, we don't exactly have another method of leaving. And if those fans were on, we could pretty easily have traversed that. Brazilian little bottle bot. There we go. That didn't want us to go to the right. We do have these switches along the side. Did that switch just give me a turret? That can't be right. Another one there on the left. The door's locked from this side too. I see what it wants me to do. There were 3 of these switches. So if we went in there, we just gotta hit all 3 of them. There we go. Perfect. And now we're trapped again. No turret this time. But we do have one of these big guys instead. Let's razor wind him. Let's miss and lose a whole bunch of health. I do love the little touch that if you hit something with it, the razor wind returns to you completely bloodied.
Ion capacitor found. Firestorm can mag 60.
Well, we've got a decent amount of ammo back here at least.
Shredder.
And this switch to let us out when we're finally ready to leave. And there's probably a turret on the other side of this door now, isn't there? Yep. I don't understand how that's not hitting me. Did somebody put blanks in that turret? That's probably not worth worrying about. I'll just accept the gift from God and move on. Now, something to note is if the enemies don't bleed, as these turrets don't do, when the razor wind comes back to you, it's not covered in blood, since the mechanical enemies, like those turrets, don't have any. Just a nice little thing that I'm happy to see that they thought of.
Greetings, Turok. How may I assist you?
Hey, Adon. We found this awesome razor wind.
Game saved.
So we're going to talk to you about it and continue the hunt next time. Thanks for watching.